Hoffman has been shot, and his wife Yvette were shot as well. They are hoping that they will recover from their surgery. Also, a Democrat. The police were just saying that they have some sense that these were targeted killings for a couple of reasons. One is that they're two lawmakers, and second one is they appear to have been on a list of individuals who were targeted. A massive manhunt is underway now. The suspect arrived in what appeared to be a police car, what looked very much like a police vehicle. He left on foot because he did encounter police. There was some shooting between the police and the suspect. So they are trying to find this person on foot. They say they've got people of interest. The gunman had what looked like a police vehicle, lights, uniform, taser, badge, and gun. These two shootings occurred in Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, and Champlin, Minnesota. They're both about 5-6 miles from each other. They're both suburbs to the northwest of Minneapolis. There are, as you know, protests going on across the city. We just heard that the protests will continue in Minneapolis and that police are able to provide security for that. Rob D'Amico's with me. He is a former FBI special agent. Rob, stuff came out of there that was surprising to both you and me, including the fact that this person presented like a police officer.
Yeah, just not like uniform, but a vehicle with assembled lights and everything. So my thing is, one, obviously very well planned out. Like, this was not just a happenstance thing. Was this police vehicle stolen, or did someone actually make one? Yeah. Which is even more troubling. And then the sergeant who actually was over at the first shooting and just thought, well, let me go check on this other rep that lives in our thing. That's an unbelievable happenstance, because now they had him boxed in and he went out on foot. If they hadn't gone over there, he would have got away in his vehicle, and he could be so far away from there now, they wouldn't have known. So the on-foot chase is going to be interesting, because unless this person has shed their clothes, they're dressed like a police officer. That's good and bad, right? That's confusing. People see police officers in this country. You don't think murderer. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to make it more challenging because, again, you have all these police out there, and how to even the police who briefed us said he would have looked just like a police officer in this room. So the people in that town are really going to have to lock down the doors. He did say that if we send a police officer to your house, it'll be in a pair. That's very interesting. That's big, because he is a single guy, single person. Yeah. So if they look out, again, I would say anyone knocks on your door, call 911 to begin with. Right. But one police officer, I think, may help stand out, and they're now keeping everyone in pairs. But it just, when we were unpacking that, I was like, oh, my goodness, this is a lot more than we first thought. They went discussing the concept of a targeted attack. Now, again, both of these are Democratic lawmakers, but the targeting seems to be that there was a list of names. They didn't come out and fully say it, but that's what the officer implied. Yeah, he said in the vehicle, when they searched the police vehicle, there was a manifest with a number of state politicians on there. So he quickly got those names, phoned the Capitol, and informed all the other police departments to put security on the people that were named in there. So it'll be interesting to see, what's in this manifest, really but the fact that he listed who was targeted kind of helps the police, saying, okay, we now know where priority protection goes. They'll probably put it on a bunch of others, too. He said they've got people of interest. Sounds like they got some information. They must have come across something, like I said, a person of interest. I don't think it's just a resemblance of like, hey, we see him. There must be something leading them to that, and immediately I'm sure they're already starting to swear out search warrants for that person's residence, for all his communications. Again, you want to see if there's someone else involved in this. At this point, you have this priority of safety, and everything is going to come down to looking at safety. The case will come, but now it's trying to figure out who he is, where he may go, and was he getting help from anyone, because those are the safety priorities that you're going to go after. So this is tricky, because for Minneapolis area police today, these police are going to want to walk with somebody else the whole time, because now the word is out there that one lone person who may or may not be wearing something that looks very convincingly like a police uniform, at least not driving the car anymore, is out there. Yeah, and again, if a police officer encounters a single police
what
officer,
are they going to think?
They're going to think, well, wait a second. So you can really even look at police-on-police shootings that they're going to have. They may pass a code word. That, to me, that would be smart. We always had that when we were doing very close coordinated operations.
Right.
You have a code word that you can say.
So if you don't say it, you may not belong there.
Yeah, if you say the first one and it doesn't come back right, then you know something's up. So it's a quick way to do, especially if it starts getting dark, to reference that they're a friendly cop and not someone who's impersonating them.
The Brooklyn Park police did encounter this guy. There was a bit of a shootout.
From what I gathered, yes. Some shots fired.
They've got some sense of what he looks like and what his size might be. So that's helpful.
Yeah, hopefully they have maybe body cams and they can get a still picture off that body cam and start getting that out to everyone. Again, everything, each police department has different uniforms. So if this one has something distinguishing, but they did say vest, they said taser gun even, and obviously a real gun. So, but if they can get a picture off of their body cam, get that out, that will really help too.
They didn't seem to say, but I don't know if you heard it more clearly than I did, because I was wondering, is it possible that it's an actual police officer? But they didn't seem to be implying that. They
didn't, but it may be again, could be a reserve police officer. It could be like something to build a police-looking vehicle takes some money,
right?
And some time,
right?
And
a lot of planning and not getting caught by whatever chop shop you're using to say, why are we building a police vehicle?
Exactly. So maybe it was in for repairs, or it was in the back, and somehow they got it and it didn't But again, it's one of those. Could it be a reserve police officer or a police officer from outside that county that they're not familiar with? It could you don't want to take anything off the table right now.
Yeah, whether or not you shoot someone, impersonating a law enforcement officer is against the law.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's universally against the law in America.
Yeah.
So what are you supposed to do? Because they've sort of said, if somebody comes to your door, first of all, if it's a single police officer, be concerned about that. If it's you're welcome to call 911. What do you actually say? Like, how does that interaction work? A police officer knocks on your door. What actually should transpire? Because people are scared sometimes. They don't want to get into it.
I wouldn't even get close to the door. I called 911. I said, and tell them I am so-and-so at this address. I have someone knocking on my door who I think may be a police officer. Can you confirm it? The dispatcher will then go out on the radio and say, hey, do any officers, are you at this location? And they're going to wait for someone to say. Hopefully now, as officers are approaching houses, they should be radioing in, I am going to this house, and the dispatcher should be noting this so that when someone calls, they can quickly say, yes, that is our police officer, and his name is this, or something to go back and forth with. So they really going to have to start understanding where their police officers are at.
That's typical practice, that a police officer would report when they're at a location.
Yes, like if they're coming up for a reason, like, say it was a suspicious act. Yeah. Hey, this is, it's unit so-and-so. I'm approaching this house, and they would say the address so that, again, if something does happen that, they're not expecting, even if he goes down and he can't say anything, the dispatcher knows where he's at. I think it's even more important now that they are tracking their officers, maybe by street or something, and then if someone calls, I always used to tell my kids, like, if you get approached by a police officer and you're not sure, if you're driving, you can go to a police station. You drive right to the police station or call 911 and say, I am being pursued. I want to make sure, because there are a bunch of fake impersonating cops out there. They like to give speeding tickets, and you'll see some of them on like YouTube that they actually then pulled over a real police officer. And so there are people out there that already do this. So the whole thing is you call 911, you tell them what city you're in, especially if you're on a cell phone, and say, I am being pursued by a car with lights on. It doesn't look like a police officer. Can you confirm it before I pull over?
Right.
Or you're trying to find a police station to pull into.
What a conversation to be having.